This presentation will review the Georgia Standards of Excellence 1 MBT3 and 2 MBT4, which both focus on comparing numbers. In first grade, students compare two two-digit numbers using the appropriate comparison symbols, while second graders begin comparing three-digit numbers. Kindergarten students are introduced to comparing by using comparing by matching. They identify which group has more or less. Kindergartners then compare quantities by counting the number of items in each set and understanding the number sequence, which then leads to being able to compare numbers within 10 without the sets being represented. In first grade, students deepen their understanding of the equal sign. The less than and greater than signs are not introduced until first grade, so using the written and spoken words along with the abstract symbol is important. In the upcoming video, you will see first graders using double 10 frames and dominoes to build and compare numbers while also practicing their fluency skills.
6 plus 6 is 12. 6 plus 5 is 11.
After building the numbers, the students were able to compare using words and symbols. Using the words along with the abstract symbols avoids students simply using drawings without understanding the meaning of the symbols. Alligators are commonly used when comparing numbers, but they should be used with caution. Students are told that the alligator eats the larger number, but in this case, which one would the alligator eat? 32 is larger due to font size, but not larger based on the quantities that each number represents. Instead of using alligators and drawing alligator teeth that students often think are part of the symbol, use dots to help students remember the meaning behind each symbol. For example, 1 is less than 2, and 2 is greater than 1. An equal sign can also be attached with brads so that it can be manipulated to show an inequality.
Greater than, less than, equal to.
Students can adjust the symbol to move the bars further apart to show greater than, or closer together to show less than. They can then build inequalities to match the symbol. How many did you put on this side?
32.
32. And how many did you put?
24.
24. So let's read it together.
32 is greater than 24.
In the upcoming series of videos, you will see a variety of examples of how engaging hands-on tasks can be incorporated in first and second grade classrooms to help build a conceptual understanding of comparing numbers. The first activity shows first graders using a task from the Georgia frameworks. Each student grabbed a handful of counters to count and compare. Trying to get a lot?
I'm trying to get little. 2 groups of 10 makes 20. I got 24.
Okay, let's compare our numbers. You have 20 and you have 24. Which symbol should we use?
This symbol. So 10 is 20 is less than 24.
In the task 1, 2, 3 flip, students flip over 10 frame cards. The student with the largest quantity gets to keep the card.
I've got 81. I've got 80. 81 is greater than 80.
Okay, take another turn.
61. 62.
Who has the greater?
Than 61.
In this next video, first grade students pick a two-digit number card from a bag. They then represent their numbers with digiblocks. So what's your number?
It's 87.
How many 10s does your number have?
8.
And how many 1s?
7.
And what about your number?
Mine is 67. There's
How many 10s?
6 10s and 7 1s.
So which symbol would we use to compare those two numbers? What symbol is that?
Greater
Greater than, so 87 is greater than 67. How do you know 87 is greater than 67?
Because they have there is the same ones, but not the same tens.
So they both have 7 ones, but which one has more tens?
That one.
87. As students move from concrete to abstract representations, number lines can be used to order and compare. The arrows on each end of the number line resemble the less than and greater than signs and show that quantities closer to the left are less than quantities on the right. As students place numbers on the number line, the numbers can be adjusted as additional numbers are placed. You place 46 right there on the number line.
Because I think 10 goes here, and then 20 closer somewhere.
This next task uses a combination of representational and abstract quantities to compare. Check out the student's reasoning as he places each card into the appropriate category.
6 plus 44 equals to 50 because 4 ones and 6 ones equals 10.
So you already have how many tens and 44?
4.
And then you added one more 10, so how many tens do you have now?
5. 15 minus 10 is less than 50.
How do you know?
Because 15 is smaller and you're taking from 15.
While first grade students compare 2-digit numbers, second grade students deepen their understanding of place value and compare 3-digit numbers. Which digit has the largest value?
It is the 100s because 100 takes 10 tens and tens only takes 10 ones.
In the Recycle It task, players pick 4-digit cards and try to create the largest number possible. They then discard or recycle their unwanted digit cards. So what number did you create?
997.
And why did you recycle the 3?
Because it was the least.
The least. And what did you create?
876.
So who has the greatest number?
Me.
The Layers of Numbers activity adds additional challenge as students strive to create numbers that fall within a certain range. The initial numbers in this next clip were 330 and 68, so all of the subsequent numbers had to be placed within that range. Will that number go anywhere in between? Where could you put 85?
I could put it right above 68.
Okay, because it's close to 68.
This number can't go anywhere.
It can't go anywhere. Okay, you lose a turn. Okay, you do another 3-digit number. Where are you going to place 198?
Under 200.
It's very close to 200. As second graders explore comparing numbers, it is important to represent quantities in different ways to reinforce and strengthen place value understanding. Many students mistakenly pluck the first digit out of each addend without thinking about the value of each digit and have difficulty understanding that 450 is the same as 45 tens. We have 2 tens,
6 ones, and 400s.
So what does that make?
426.
You're going to compare 45 tens to 381. Can you show me what 45 tens would look like? Okay, so how many tens are in each of these hundreds?
10.
Okay, so we have 10,
20, 30, 40.
45. So 45 tens is the same as how many hundreds?
40.
4 hundreds. And how many tens?
5.
So what would 45 tens represent if we count our hundreds, tens, and ones?
450.
Instead of worksheets with rows and rows of numbers to compare, encourage students to build and represent numbers as they engage in active discussions with classmates. How did you arrange your pieces?
4 hundreds, 4 tens, and 2 ones.
So what does that number create?
442.
And how did you arrange your pieces?
4 hundreds, 5 tens, and 1 1.
And what number does that create?
451.
Who is closest to the target number?
I am, because we both have the same hundreds, but I have more tens, which is closer to 80.
For additional tasks and resources for comparing numbers in first and second grades, please visit GeorgiaStandards.Org.